Check. Are we broadcasting? We're live? Let's pull up the YouTube window so we can see our...
Yeah, the red button is on.
I gotta see my chats! I gotta see
We gotta see the chat!
Happy Patreon times! Happy Patreon times! We have all come together for a happy Patreon times! Happy Patreon times! Happy Patreon times! We have all come together for a happy Patreon time. Oh yeah, happy Patreon times. Happy Patreon time. We have all come together for a happy Patreon time. Oh yeah, happy Patreon time. Happy Patreon time. We have all come together for a happy Patreon time. Yeah. Woo! Just giving ourselves a hand.
Here we are. Here
we
you
are.
are. Good to see you guys
On
again.
the last day of August, September
Patreon
5th.
times,
Yeah,
guys.
It's August 36th. Whenever we do that, I haven't really practiced like barring on the uke. So whenever we like do the key change, I just like quit playing. It always makes me think like it'd be really funny if there's like a really tight band, like they're actually professionals, like they're touring, and then whenever they do the key change up, like half the band just like stops.
You just see like three guys quit playing, and
Yeah,
it's like
there's
let
one guy
the piano player do it.
Yeah.
I think it kind of works in a gospel way, though. You just have to start clapping, and
Yeah,
then
it's
it like
acapella part.
it's like the part where like you make it more intense by making it quieter. You know, when half the band drops out, you're just like
accentuating the vocals.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny with two instruments, you're really just dropping one instrument, but still the gesture is there.
half the band is dropping out.
All the string instruments are gone.
Guys,
You have only-
it's great to see everybody. Happy Patreon times. I just want to say the comment section is lit.
The comment section is lit today, which
Even
makes
before we got started, I'd just love to see you guys
which
jumping
makes
in there.
me think, why do we ever schedule this more than 30 minutes in advance?
Yeah.
We're always dithering for weeks and weeks, saying, "Oh, is this
Oh,
day better?
should it be
Is
Wednesday
this
at
day
5
better?
or
Should we do
Thursday
it?
at
Oh, what about
5?
Wednesday at 1 or Wednesday at 4? Are you in the UK or on the West Coast?" Today, we just,
You're saying we should just do it.
dropped it out there, and it just happened.
I see in the chat that some like major discoveries have been made even as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
Scooby Bop. Right here at the end, Andre has discovered Alfred's true IRL identity somehow. That Alfred works at Nuance.
Wow.
Amelia's jumping in that she did actually do a survey. It felt spontaneous. To
Amelia
us.
did a survey. Forget it. This is a great time. Thanks for scheduling this, Amelia.
So yeah,
Tuesday
this
before, I love
month
Tuesday
has been, especially the last few weeks, have been like really blowy up as far as like releasing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's funny when there are like little dormant times. Sometimes you'll notice if they're like not releases. Usually, or pretty much always, that means that we're like simultaneously writing like 4 other things, and then they're all gonna like drop like really fast. And in the last couple of weeks, we dropped Smoking Meats.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Pokemon song with Game Theory,
Mm-hmm.
which we were obviously always excited to write about Pokemon, as you discovered last year.
Mm-hmm.
We did our second ever cooking song. Our first was with Hannah Hart.
Sure.
And this was Rosanna Pansino. And then the last one you guys might not have even seen because it's not really public. It's for like a live show that's primarily on, or really only on Twitch. It's the Yai Live theme song, which we're like super proud of. We might do a video for it, and maybe it'll go on Schmo or on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Should we play it somehow? If I saw someone bootleg uploaded it,
I
like
think we
on
could.
some channel, but we want to upload it like legit.
So
At some
it's
point.
the live. It's the So Jack Douglas of Jack's Films has put together a live Twitch show that he rolled out to the general public last Friday. Today was the second show. I guess he took Labor Day off. I played for the first time. Did you play Friday, Michael?
I was watching and voting. Yeah.
Yeah, I played for the first time today, and we wrote the theme song. Very exciting.
Yeah, it came out really good. Like his notes for what he wanted was just that he wanted it to be major key, upbeat, and have a lot of synths. So we got this kind of bass line that really hangs on like the one and the four for the intro, but then it does some really cool things. Like it hits you with the major 3 chord. You know how that feels when you guys get hit with a major 3 chord. You're like, whoa, this was supposed to be minor.
It hurts my clavicle.
Anyway, that's out, and we're excited to eventually shoot. That was my butt. Eventually shoot a video.
That had the unmistakable sound of a butt cord.
Yeah.
Man,
Only one way you can play that many notes at once.
imagine how amazing it would have been if Michael just sat down on the piano and played a major 3.
Yeah.
You guys know how that feels with a.
That really would have knocked you guys in the clavicle.
Yeah.
For all I know, you guys are just hearing about some of these things for the first time if they're not published on our channel.
Is this new to you guys, or is this like all old news?
In the last 3 weeks, we've released like 3 major things on other people's channels, which is just kind of indicative of one of the weird places we're in as a group, is that we're doing collabs and other productions almost as
we've been doing a lot of videos for other people,
which is both for better and worse, I think. But the YAI stands for Yesterday I Asked You. YIAY. It's not necessarily something that you would look at and say, how would I pronounce this? YAI. But sure, I can see YIAY being YAI. But that's an acronym for Yesterday I Asked You, which is the signature show on Jack's Films.
That he ripped off from PewDiePie last week. I asked you. Just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke beef. That's a joke beef. Sorry, you guys probably don't know about that.
Yeah. So that's new to you. Which one is new? Just the YAI Live or like all that stuff? I guess just the YAI Live. That's the least obvious, because I think I might have put it on the Instagram story. Like I was just like filming the theme song playing on Friday, but it's easy to miss an Instagram story. Why even be on Instagram when you can be on YouTube?
So true. Michael, we did not practice this at all, but Michael, you suggested doing the YAI theme song just for 2.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are. He goes, I'm going to do it like a little bit slower so I can remember it. Maybe you could sing it with me. Sort of like this, right?
Yeah, it goes to the 4. Yeah. Let's do the ooze first. So then imagine a big synth and ooze come in. Stupid answers to stupid questions. Try to write the best one. Everybody gets to choose. And if you're in love, then the next one could go to you.
So that's how it goes. Basically, that's our game show theme song. That's the shortest thing we could play for you, because the other 2 things are like.
Did you feel the major 3 when we hit it?
Did you feel it? Major 3 that's this chord.
Everybody.
I felt it.
Yeah, play what a minor 3 would sound like. It would be like
everybody gets to choose.
Still a fine chord.
Yeah, there's so much energy in the.
Everybody gets to choose. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just playing an E flat.
Oh, E flat.
I mean, it's kind of a short passing chord, but the whole song is so short. It's a pretty large percentage of the song.
That's a great point. Yeah. Andre said he felt some sus. Yeah.
Sus?
Yeah. Like a sus 3 would sound like this.
Stupid
everybody.
Totally could be sus. That'd be cool. Yeah, maybe the sus you're feeling is like the 9. Does that count as a sus? Like the sharp 9? Because it's going up and down.
In the melody. What can I say? It's a fun little ditty, and just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Clayton Payne, great to see you on here. Sorry we abutted HQ Trivia in the UK.
Oh, you're right.
Clayton, have you won yet? You probably won multiple times. How are things going in your HQ career?
I guess, yeah, we could be playing HQ. Can you even download British HQ in the United States and play at 4 p.m., UK 9 p.m.? But presumably I would be terrible at it because I wouldn't know anything about British government, British geography, British culture, British music, British religion.
Sure. British language.
British culture.
Yeah.
British literature. So I'd be terrible at that. But I could at least play 3 times a day instead of twice a day.
Oh,
4 times a day even.
Clayton says he's racked up a purse of £8. That's you're like an HQ millionaire.
Isn't
Wow.
it?
Relatively speaking.
What is £8?
That's a huge amount of money. That's like 12 US bucks, right?
What?
Isn't yeah? Is a quid? Is a
Crushing
quid
me.
£2? What is a
No,
quid?
A quid is a pound.
Oh, really? I thought a quid was like somehow different than a pound. I thought if you were like, hey, that'll be £1. Oh, sorry, I did the math wrong. It'll be £2. Wait, let me abbreviate. That would be 1 quid.
Well, I mean, I don't mind using this live stream for a tutorial on the different terms for British monetary units. Pence. What is a pence? What is a halfpenny?
This is how bad I would be at British UK. That's a question 1. How many pounds is 1 quid? And I would have said 2. Clayton is saying it's 1.
1 pound. And a pound is like how much? Like $1.50? Is it?
I think it's like 175 right now.
Current
175?
exchange rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
8 quid, pretty good.
$12. Killing me. I've got like $5 or $6.
But if 8 quid is $12, then you're right. It's more like 150.
Right.
Now, you guys might be saying, you know what? It's actually September. Why are we doing the August live stream? But I want to note that something very...
We just had a holiday weekend. So
we just had a holiday weekend here in
from
the
an
United
American
States.
standpoint, we're only 2 days into September.
Right. Yesterday was Labor Day in the United States. I don't think you guys celebrate that elsewhere.
Labor Day?
I don't think so. I
I don't think so.
if you want to celebrate the contributions of labor to society elsewhere, I think you generally celebrate May Day. I think May Day is a holiday in Europe.
Yeah, I think you just go to the NHS and rejoice.
Clayton, there's another there's another UK HQ Q1 that we need you to answer. Does the United Kingdom celebrate May Day?
Or Labor Day.
Yes, no, maybe. Those are the answers.
Probably, yeah.
Pound is down. Man,
But-
it's time to go to the UK.
But Evan is, I mean, the end of August here in the US really says end of summer. Evan is experiencing a real end of summer experience. Is it tomorrow, Evan, that your oldest child is entering the public school system?
My firstborn
Tomorrow?
is having her first day in the American public school system tomorrow. Yeah,
Talking about
it's true.
communism.
Wow.
Exciting and terrifying.
That's a milestone. Yeah, it is
But
exciting.
that feels very end of August to me, the first day of school.
Clayton's answered that May Day is a bank holiday.
Same as federal holiday.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of our federal holiday, but it doesn't tell us what it's meant to celebrate. Is it just like rejoicing that it's May, or was it created to just like get hyped about workers?
I think there was some like huge riot or something. I
Yeah.
think it was like the communists of
Or like
France rose up against their overlords and like murdered them. or
yeah, like
something.
a Cromwell execution or something.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah, I mean, Rose is not even 4 yet, but in New York City, they have public pre-K for 4-year-olds.
Is that not the whole state?
Because she turns 4 in this calendar year, she can go. So she's starting public school at the age of like 3 and
That's Oregon
3/4.
City, not the
If you-
state.
if
And
you can
Oklahoma
imagine
does that too.
But does that mean next year
Yeah.
she'll be a kindergartner? She'll be
Yes.
entering
Yeah.
kindergarten as a 4-year-old?
Wow.
Yes, yeah, she'll turn 5.
So she'll be really young for her age, for her year.
Yeah, she
So you
always
guys-
just because New York State does the calendar year puts you in a grade, as opposed to most states. It's like how old are you at the start of the school year? So that means if you're born in November, you're the oldest in your class, where we grew up.
You're getting
But in New York State, a November birthday means you're the youngest in your class.
You're getting screwed in the opposite direction by the Freakonomics law.
Yeah.
The Freakonomics rule. You should explain this, Evan.
Well, I guess just it was an observation by the Freakonomics guys that like professional footballers were like more likely to be born in January and February. And that had to do with the fact that like at age 5 and 6, when you're getting started playing, you're significantly older than your November and December peers that are lumped into the same like U5, U6 leagues. So you're way better than them because you're like 25% older than them.
It's really fascinating.
Or whatever.
And so
you're
obvious
just
and intuitive.
Yeah, you're just bigger. So then you get better at it and you're encouraged because you're excelling. And that doesn't mean you're going to become professional, but just that like slight edge in probabilities makes you more likely to continue in the sport, more likely to get better and to excel on into your teenage years and psychological.
It's just a feedback loop. You were the star on the team last year, so you want to play the next year.
You're great. You're great, and you're like, you're great.
And
so
then
you have
right. So it just just proves that like the especially it's obvious in athletic achievements, but surely there's an academic correlation that the grouping of people with those hard cutoffs in calendar year format or any start and end dates has like real results in terms of who can participate successfully or not. But anyway,
I wonder how much
I'm dropping my daughter off at pre-K tomorrow.
But
personal milestone.
If New York used the calendar year, Rose would be entering next year as one of the oldest kids in her class and would be like, I'm way smarter than you because I'm 9 months older than you. But because they use the calendar year, it's reversed for her.
Yeah, correct.
I wonder if the intellectual pursuits can be similar to soccer, because if you're like just a tiny bit smarter at a certain thing, so you're like, I'm good at science or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you just get it. I'm not saying that's going to happen for Rose.
Yeah.
I just mean like,
I
would just wonder if.
I get it. You're saying Rose is going to fail.
I'm saying.
I've already accepted it.
I'm saying hold her back one grade.
Right.
Make her the smartest one.
And the best thing for her is probably a harsh uncle judgment. So,
Exactly. And we showed up.
Yeah. Michael and I have to start strategizing more, and one of us has to agree to be the mean uncle, and one of us has to agree to be the nice uncle.
Yeah.
One of us has to like shower her with even more praise. Evan, you and Sarah have to go down the middle. One of us has to just like shower her with praises, like, let her throw under like parties with beer when she's 16 in her apartment. And the other one has to be like very stern and be like, your parents go too easy on you all the time.
One of us has to be
stern as hell.
One of us is the Leopold Mozart, and one is the Willie.
Who's Willie?
Oh, this is just a personal connection. Willie's like the fun guy who he was like, we were always like,
I thought you were talking about the killer whale from the movie.
When we were little, we were like, man, this guy's so fun. And when we were older, we were like, we think he was drunk that whole time, and that's why he was so fun.
Yes. Thank you guys for weighing in on my side and giving me emotional support.
I was the old one in my class because I was November. I remember a kid at the lunch table being like, man, you're really young for your age. And he knew what he was saying was dumb, but it still made sense because like our parents are probably both late bloomers. So hence we were, as in like growing late, like, like a full year or two later than your peers. So it's just weird when you're like the old kid, but you're also like developmentally like with like the fourth graders. If you're in like fifth grade, you're like, why?
But by developmentally, you're just saying you were short. That's just your way of saying I was a short kid.
Yeah, but also socially. I feel like when in middle school everyone was like super into boys and I was still physically.
You were into girls.
No,
you're totally weird.
No, physically and emotionally, I still like cared about like Legos or whatever like you care about when you're like a little kid. I was still like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, middle school is a cusp. Yeah, it's a time.
Exactly, middle school is supposed to be like pubescent, but for me, it was still just like little kid stuff. Like, what's going on with all these tall people?
Yeah, I still think that.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I go to Scandinavia and I'm like, yo, why is everyone 6'4"? I don't know, what's the median height there?
It's median height in Scandinavia, definitely 6'4".
Yeah.
Half the people are taller than 6'4". Yeah.
Median height,
Now Andrew's Googling.
Sweden. 5'10.9". So basically 5'11".
Oh, that can't. I thought they were taller than Americans. It's like the same as Americans, right?
Well, this is saying maybe they're including kids, but that seems crazy. This is saying 5'11 and a half. And the United States is 5'9".
Here's what?
5'9"?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Man,
Guys, back to Gregory Brothers HQ.
I
Let's
was
talk
gonna-
about what else we've been up to. Namely, the last thing we put out on Shmoyoho was a song called Smokin' Meats
smoking these meats
that we co-wrote with a young entrepreneur. His name is Mark Zuckerberg. And I don't know if you guys have heard about him, but on the internet, at least, a lot of people have opinions about him. So I'm curious, as like by show of hands or emojis in the chat, have you watched Smokin' Meats or not? And if you watched it, did it or did it not change your opinion of Mark Zuckerberg in a humanizing kind of way? That's like I've seen a lot of comment traffic about that.
Do people like Mark Zuckerberg more now that they've seen Smoking These Meats?
What do you mean?
Do they like him more now that they've seen him smoke meats?
I mean, I don't know that it's going to move the needle on the nation's opinion of him, but in the comments, I did see a lot of stuff about like, well, I kind of like him more now, whatever, to even know that he operates a grill.
Yeah. He's a guy who loves a purple t-shirt,
Yeah,
a gray t-shirt.
he likes to let it all hang out by
He
changing
likes-
the color of his shirt.
He likes brisket.
Smoking meats, baby. Give me the zuck, give me the zuck.
What key was that in, Michael?
See you. I was just
D?
Z zuck.
Smoking meats, baby.
It's just 1, 2. It's 1, 2, 6. Then I was going 5.
Yeah.
Give me the zuck. Give me the zuck.
Okay, so let's see. Andre hasn't watched yet. Everybody else says thumb up. The video shows Glenn is not a vegetarian. That's true. That's a great observation because he doesn't say that out loud, but he does talk about smoking meats. I don't know that he ever. No, he says it's delicious at one point, so you can infer that he's eaten it and not.
It would
just
be
cooked
weird
it.
if he was smoking meats as a vegetarian, just like as a show of his culinary prowess.
There's a lot of sober bartenders out there.
Yeah.
Clayton Payne couldn't like him less.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not very popular right now. But it's hard to imagine Facebook without him, I do say. I was just listening to a really great podcast about Friendster and just about like, it was maybe an hour and a half long.
Did the podcast come out now, or did it come out in 2003 when Friendster was really hot?
The podcast came out now, and it was like a look at like the rise and fall of Friendster. And
What
just, like,
happened to it? Yeah.
yeah, and just like talked about a couple like real moments that Friendster had that things really could have gone well for it and did not go well. And in a way, like,
Can you summarize it briefly? And like, what's the turning point?
well, I mean, it was founded by like one guy who had this great idea and made it and got some small investors for it. And then it kind of blew up. And then he started getting much bigger, like VC investors.
I used it.
I definitely used it. One fascinating thing about it to me was that, and they interviewed people that like got married off Friendster. They got married.
Sure.
They interviewed people who like got their jobs on Friendster.
Right. I mean, you can't be shocked about that if you
Yeah.
know what Facebook's used for.
And you could like search likes and dislikes. So like the couple that had gotten married were like, they had searched like, the husband had searched for like, who else likes this movie I like? And it was like, that was the jumping off point for their relationship. Him messaging her and being like, hey, I saw you really like, the movie, whatever it was. I can't remember.
Right. In the early days of social media, you might respond to that, whereas like,
Now you'd be like, this is spam.
Or
Yeah,
a
who
girl
doesn't
is
like
getting tons of those messages, and it's like, I ignore all these.
Right. So there was a moment when kind of simultaneously they got an offer that they accepted from a VC to like invest like 20 or $25 million into the business. And that's what they ended up doing. And then basically within 6 months, the CEO was forced out by the investors.
Of the venture capital firm.
Yeah,
who Friendster.
who basically saw him as being like not serious enough.
Was he the founder?
He was the founder. They saw him as being like not really a business guy. He had this idea, but he didn't really matter. And just like everyone they brought in were just like these total like corporate.
Oh, so it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, we're all these total corporate people who like one of them had like created FX. It's like, well, that's cool. He created FX.
Yeah,
But like
The cable network?
yeah, but like running a cable network has no hold on doing that. Another guy created like Yahoo Sports. Anyway, one of the main observations they made was, you look at Facebook, and Facebook has had one CEO over 15 years. That Friendster had like 6 or 7 CEOs in the course of like 5 years.
Yeah.
But the other offer they had on the table at the same time that they had
The VC offer.
the VC offer for $20 million was an offer to be bought. And that offer was an offer for more money, I think, for $25 or $30 million from a little company called Google.
Oh!
And you have to ask yourself, like, not only do you have to wonder, like, oh man, would Friendster have succeeded, and they would have kept that guy on not as a CEO, but as like the head of Friendster, and Friendster would have continued to grow. But you also wonder, like, man, would Google have been twice as powerful right now as it is if they had managed to elbow out the MySpace
Because they would have
Facebooks of the
social
world?
media, because Google Plus and everything didn't catch on. It also makes me wonder, though, we're going into way hypothetical land. Would they have also gotten YouTube? Probably.
Mhm.
Or would that have changed their strategy to make like one social plus video thing? You know what I mean? Like, would that have made YouTube suck because they were so focusing on the Facebooking of it or the Friendstering of it?
Yeah.
Just wondering. Because so that would have been in like a couple of years before they bought YouTube.
I don't want to live in that alternate reality.
Yeah.
So small dismount to this podcast that now I've ruined for you guys is, I don't know, has anyone ever used the service Nuzzle? Have you ever used Nuzzle, Evan?
I've never even heard of it.
You haven't heard of Nuzzle? It's very small. Somehow I'm on their email list. It's kind of like,
Somehow.
yeah, somehow. It's like it's a news aggregation website. I think maybe they send you like emails that like of articles that people you follow have shared. I don't know. But that Nuzzle is run by the founder of Friendster. He's still out there. He's still doing it.
The name Nuzzle makes me feel a bit squeamish, I gotta be honest. Let's talk a little bit about like what we got coming, like what other stuff we're working on, and then let's take chats.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any
If you have any questions, hit us up.
any thoughts.
Another thing to be thinking about is, I think right after we shoot this live stream, we're going to do our improvised song of the month.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have any suggestions for song titles, we've got a real what do they call it when you have like a row of amazing bad guys? A real
A lineup? Usual suspects?
yeah, we've got a real great. We have an amazing lineup of usual suspects here in the chat. So if you guys drop suggestions for improvised songs in.
That's true.
We'll do
Yeah,
it.
we got some real Schmusketeer Hall of Famers in the stream today.
Just comment a great phrase or thing or just idea for a song.
So, yeah, potential title for a song. So what are we working on? We're gonna get tentative, dip our toe back in. We're like a bit scared, but making steps towards dipping our toe back into a little bit of news songification. Pardon me. I survived that. For an episode of Song by the News within the next couple of weeks.
So if you see any good news, let us know.
Yep. We have a couple of chapters already assembled, so the things coming together. What else are we working on?
We have a happy, sad song we're working on in the next week. We're not going to drop it yet. We might even hold this one for Halloween. It's going to be like sound very sad and spooky.
Well, more info on that very shortly.
Yeah.
Something you probably heard us talk a lot about in the last few months is the Christmas record that we've been working on in the background all year. You probably already know a lot about our love for Christmas music, since we like annually go into that deep holiday hole every December. We finally made the record, so it's very present on our minds because we had to wrap the chapter of mixing and recording last week so that we could go into printing for physical vinyl records. So we really have that on the brain and are very excited about where that record is at. We should, and this is not a thing that we've actually done, I'm really thinking out loud, is we should set up pre-orders and stuff like that, and so that people can think about their friends and loved ones, how much they should be listening to our Christmas tunes.
Good idea.
Yeah, what else are we working on? No one here lives in Canada, right? No one in this stream. I'm thinking about Buffer Festival as a thing that we might go to in the next couple weeks, which is a Toronto like YouTube screening festival. Basically, we are also gearing up for something we don't do very often, which is live shows outside of summer festivals and holiday shows. But we have 2 shows that we're doing this month that are in the spirit of Shmoyoho, basically us on stage shredding and singing our videos, like synced with a video stream of what we're playing the music and singing them in front of bands. We're doing one in Philadelphia next
Saturday.
That's the 15th, right? And then one the following Saturday
in Denver, Colorado.
In Denver. So if you guys have any like pals there that are into music or YouTube, or if they know our stuff or you think they might, you should totally send them. I don't think the Denver show has sold out, and the Philadelphia one is attached to a like Philadelphia Convention Center version of Comic-Con. It's like pretty cheap to get into. So those are some cool events that we're going to do in the next like couple weeks. It's really coming up soon.
Yeah. So doing all that, we're working on a second. I guess this is actually our third and a half collaboration with Jack of Jacksepticeye. That's going to be pretty exciting.
What's the half collab?
Yeah.
The remix.
Oh yeah.
Because we put out All the Way, we put out What Is My Life, and we put out All the Way remixed.
Right.
Wow. It's pretty much the same, but a little different.
Clayton in the chat, I would love to come meet your turkey and your goose. If we come to the UK, we'll definitely come over. Yeah. What's the drive from London? You told me before, like an hour? We'll make it happen. Okay, Andre's in the chat. Those places are far apart, also far from California residents.
And you just went on a 2-week-long vacation. Congratulations.
Congratulations and welcome back. Andre, you're in Silicon Valley. Yes. Eventually we'll make it to a show back up there. I think the thing that's held us back is just even having an excuse to do a tour. I mean, we'd have to have some package of things that like gets us excited to go out and say like, oh, we want to perform around the release of some thing. So help us think of whatever that thing is, and then we'll gin up a tour around it and come to your town, wherever that is. Clayton asks, when is your Christmas show in New York? Thanks for asking, Clayton. I know CP loves to travel to see shows and travel in general, so it gets me excited even that you're posing the question at all to think about the possibilities. But our show this year is going to be December 16th at a club down in Greenwich Village called Le Poisson Rouge.
Very classy. You can tell because it's in French.
Because it means red fish in French. And it's notable because we've done the Christmas show at a different club called the Rockwood Music Hall for like 10 years. It's only been one other place before that, I think. So for us to depart from there is a major blow to them. No, that's just kidding. It's just, I think it's only notable because the people that have gone to our show many, many times are probably just going to go there again and they'll forget about
Let's
it.
hope so.
And then they'll be like,
It'd be a problem if they showed up at the Rockwood Music Hall.
Predicus, did we meet you at the show when you came? I feel like we did. What do you remember what year that was? I want to open it up to any other questions, not necessarily Christmas related. Let's talk about videos. Let's talk about British conversion rates. I think would be a really good topic that we could probably really engage with.
I did look it up, guys, and I do think that May Day is, in fact, the celebration of a major labor riot, the Haymarket Affair.
Good old Haymarket Affair.
Wow. So May Day is sort of maybe the British Labor Day ish.
Yeah, I think the French do it too. I think a lot of European countries do it.
Okay. Yeah. Our Labor Day is not associated with a specific riot. It's just more sort of like the last gasp of communism being heard in America.
It has to do with communism?
Not overtly. I just sort of interpret it that way in terms of like having a holiday that's just sort of generically like
For the workers.
for the working man, for the proletariat. The country's built on their backs. We should honor them.
Yeah.
Not that it's wrong. I just mean the sort of like the language and politics around it, like harkens to another era.
You mean they're trying to like recognize more to like quell any sort of like communist feelings in the country, like back when they're having some red scares? When would this be? Like the 20s or like later on? They're like,
I don't know when Labor Day was founded,
In
but
Cold
yeah, but
War-
seems like the
Cold War
20s or
times.
something like that. Yeah, just in the cynical way, it's like, oh, if our government founded a new holiday that was like in that spirit, it would be like Small Business Owners Day, in terms of like what is valued in the
Job
like,
creators
in
Day.
the language and gestures of our lawmakers and stuff like that. That's just my take on it. Okay, so I'm taking questions in the chat, and I see that Glenn has a question, which is, one thing I've learned about international money exchanges, do them at night? I'm just adding a question mark to everything in the chat to turn it into a question, whether you meant it or not. And that way I can turn this into a Q&A format. So Glenn's question is, if you're doing international money exchanges, do you do them at night?
I'm unfamiliar with that that philosophy.
I guess the idea is that somehow currency exchanges move like after the market closes, or that like there could be some downward movement at the end of a market day. Now it depends on which side of the trade you're making. A downward move in one country would be upward in the other country, right?
I guess I'd also say, if you're doing an international money exchange, whose night are you doing the exchange in? Like, does that mean I should be, if I'm changing dollars into euros, should I be changing them into euros while it's night in the US, while it's night in Europe, or night in both? And let's say I was changing dollars into yen, Japanese yen. Well,
yes.
it's never going to be night at the same time in those two places because they're 12 hours apart.
Wow, that's messed
Whose
up.
night do I pick?
Wow. Clayton has a great question, which is Boxing Day. In Ireland, it's called St. Stephen's Day. What is it in the USA?
Well, we've got some bad news for you, Clayton.
Yeah, I'm kind of pardon me. I'm kind of excited to be the one to break this news to Clayton, which is there is no Boxing Day.
Yeah, generally here
In
it'd
the
be
US.
called the day after Christmas. It's just
Yeah.
not a thing at all.
December 26th is not a day here. Yeah.
that's when you take your returns to Best Buy.
Right, which is the same reason it's called Boxing Day.
That's why it's called that.
Right, not necessarily because you're doing returns, because the name Boxing Day is really old, right? But it has to do with like boxing stuff up or something. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not Pugilism Day. not this kind of boxing.
Clayton.
Andre's weighing in on the question that Glenn had, which is about money exchanges that I don't think we've really gotten to the bottom to yet. So I'm very excited to have more input from our streamers. But then Fredicus has a question. Around what year did G-Bros turn from the four of you to a mini production company? That's a great question. I'll give sort of maybe a double-sided answer, which is I would say 2012 was the first year that we really started. And, at that point, we were only like 3 years into our YouTube career. That was the first time we really started incorporating a lot of like subcontractors, so to speak, or just like, oh, we need to do a shoot. We're going to crew this with like a couple of people so that we can be on camera and get more stuff done quicker. And we partnered with
and that's when we were with Maker, right?
We partnered with Maker and yeah, they introduced us to a lot of people and like enabled a lot of that stuff during the first like year or two. So I think that is a good answer to your question. But more recently, we parted ways with Maker. So it's really been in the last 2 years that we more have controlled more of it independently without like an investing partner, something like that. So like you guys know Amelia, there's another guy, Aaron, that you may have seen around or not, that works on the music side in our studio. And it's mostly the two of them in terms of like being regularly in the studio, but we have a couple of other subcontractors or business partners that we go out to for other stuff. And then Sarah's, mostly stepped away to rear our children, except for one-off. She comes in every so often to be in a video or help work on some specific project. But thanks for asking. It does sort of feel like we're a production company in some ways, and then in other ways, it feels like we're a dysfunctional family business. But so Jason Foster asks, have you considered a career in something other than currency trading? Perhaps music. It's a great question. I mean, it's sort of, so if it's far afield, I guess, hard really to put myself into that much of a hypothetical place.
I would say the opposite. I've never considered working in the field of currency trading because I'm not sure whose night during which I should trade money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly right. But thanks for sending us into that spiral. Going to be reflecting upon our career choices.
You're going to find our channel's been deleted by next week.
Yeah.
We'll just be posting videos about Dogecoin and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we're going to turn into a blockchain review channel.
It'd be like the Tai Lopez of blockchain.
Okay, Clayton is weighing in on the currency question. I didn't change all my rubles up after the World Cup. So you're saying you went to the World Cup and you were there in Moscow watching World Cup, and they're now worth 10% less. So you're saying the influx of travelers there caused a temporary 10% rise in the currency, right? That's what we're describing, right? Just want to confirm that. So you should have changed them all up before you got on the plane. Is the hindsight here? I'm reading. Andre says closest thing we have to Boxing Day is the song by Simon & Garfunkel, "The Boxer." That is correct. Lie, la, lie. What else was I going to say? Clayton was in Sochi. So you didn't go to the World Cup.
I think some of the World Cup was in Sochi.
Some of the World Cup was in Sochi, right? It's like Moscow's like the headquarters, but they really distributed stadiums all around.
I think they always do that. Like in, I guess not in 2022, but in 2026, they just announced it's going to be over 3 countries. It's going to be over the United States, Canada, and Mexico.
North America is hosting. Can you imagine if you're like from the urban, you got to come to the U.S. for the World Cup, but then in between your matches on different days, you got to fly to Vancouver and Mexico City.
Get a quick flight to Toronto.
That's a nightmare.
Maybe they'll keep the groups together, or are they going to be all over the place?
I think the groups play all over the place.
Oh man.
So like if you're, let's say, a Finn living in the United States and the Finnish team is playing 4 games, you have like more chances to see them in different places. I don't know. So do you guys see where the final is?
The North America final?
Yeah.
Where?
It's already planned?
Where
This
is
is
it?
8 years away.
LA?
The final.
Atlanta?
Well, hopefully in the exact center of North America, Topeka, Kansas.
No, but it's in a very good place for us, which is Giant Stadium.
New York?
Yeah, it's in New York. Well,
Right.
New Jersey.
Great, fun. Okay, so we'll automatically get to go since we live so close.
Yeah.
In Russia, they had free travel between cities for ticket holders. Like you
That's
have a
crazy.
ticket to the game, you just walk onto a plane for free.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's just Putin trying to get rich people to move to Russia.
That's what communism is for.
In Soviet Russia, ticket travel for you.
Okay, did you take the train 12 hours to Yekaterinburg? That's terrifying. Now listen, let me jump really quickly before we're getting on to 5 p.m., at which point we'll conclude our August live stream. I'm going to use Alfred's question to pivot into like another smaller discussion before we close up. And Alfred's question is, when are we getting more theremin?
We were just
Great
talking
question.
about this today.
We were
actually.
just talking about it today. We haven't talked about the theremin in months, and it just came up today. So
I can't
there's
even-
some simpatico vibrations happening that you would even ask about that instrument.
When's the last video we even used the theremin in?
No, I mean Glenn remembered that we used it many years ago in Auditon News number 11 when there's pure poppycock, and
But is that the last time we used it?
I don't think so. And we've definitely used it sonically on recordings a number of times since then. When's the last time we filmed it?
One use that was really fun, and this is pretty old, probably 2014, is Somewhere Over the Rainbow Minor with Andrew Horowitz.
Yeah,
Andrew Horowitz of Tally Hall.
right. That would have only been 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it sounded really cool on that.
Somewhere over
Oh, no, my bad. It was Why Are There So Many Songs About Rainbows? The Muppets one.
Rainbow Connection.
The other rainbow song, yeah.
Right.
So if you search that minor with G Bros or Gregory Brothers or Andrew
Are
Horowitz,
there so
you see
many
a good theremin arrangement.
songs about rainbows?
But how many songs are there about rainbows? Are there more than two?
Two? Well, we wrote one. That makes three. Now we wrote another one, the Rosanna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
4 total songs.
you got me.
Half of them are by us.
So one reason the theremin came up today is because, and we didn't even talk about this in things that we're working on, but this is a core group of great supporters that I want to float it by, is we're scheming / conceiving a sort of like live stream show that we'd like to debut this fall that would involve us having a hangout like this, like maybe a little bit more choreographed, but having a hangout like this on Shmoyoho that's live that people can tune into and request songs. We did some of this like about a year ago with Happy Joy Schmo Times, and we'd sort of like take requests for our own songs that we could play, but then requests for improvised songs also that we just make up. So the idea is for this thing, we would improvise a song based on some suggestion in the live stream, and then go out and like the next day basically make the improvised version of the song into a good version of the song, and then make a music video and have it out by the next week, at which point we have the stream for the next show. And hopefully the stream would be fun in and of itself to just like hang out and make jokes and whatever, culminating in one of these improvised songs. And then the finished project the following week would be sort of like a reward for people that saw it be conceived from soup to nuts. So we're excited about it, but figuring out how to make it work in the stream, and then how to make the resulting thing engaging. Also, just in terms of like stuff that we're working on, how to make it not take away from other stuff that we want to be doing. But the theremin came up by way of us talking about how viewers can interact with us while we're streaming. Because chatting is crucial in terms of like putting in requests and stuff like that. But depending on how many people tune in, it's hard to see everything. So some people will be super chatting and be seen when other people aren't. And we recently learned about this way that you can have people super chat, and you can attach through like webhooks or IFTTT. You can attach super chats to other internet stuff, and so we were thinking about this little physical device called a SwitchBot, which is sort of like you would have a smart electrical switch for your AC or your lights or something like that that could be controlled on Wi-Fi, and a SwitchBot is that, but for something that's not a smart device. The SwitchBot is just physically actually has a thing that comes out and goes that could push a physical button. So meaning that someone somewhere on the internet could submit a super chat or a specific tweet or something like that, and then that could trigger this physical thing like sitting here right behind us to go like and turn on an amplifier or hit a sample or turn on a light or something like that. And so we could have that power available to all of our live streamers to like toggle lights and effects and stuff like that while we're actually playing and performing. So that's the like concept we're trying to like hone in on basically. And the theremin came up as like, how easy would it be to physically use that in the space, and what variable on the theremin could be controlled by a viewer remotely.
Really it's hard because it's you have to turn it on by knob, right? Isn't it a
right.
Switch?
Like really, you could just turn it on, period, and then it just starts making noise, and somebody has to play it. No one could do it with musical timing because there's going to be a delay in the stream. So just sort of have to be something that can work asynchronously, so to speak. But that is how the theremin came up at all. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because this is the show that doesn't exist yet, but that we're trying to figure out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Andrew went to retrieve the theremin.
Good news, guys. I think the theremin is controlled with a switch.
Right, a normal on-off.
I think it has an on-off switch, and then it has a volume knob.
Knobs,
I think if it only had a knob, I think we'd be out of luck, because we really need the switch to be able to be punched.
It's just like the bird that pecks in the symbol.
We could, if we were like really handy, we probably could take apart that box and have the volume knob.
Be a switch.
Yeah. Take out the knob. Okay, now I'm catching up on chats for your reaction to what the heck we're talking about. I think it's a great idea, but I wouldn't envy who's filtering those requests. Great. It'll be Andrew.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We haven't figured that out yet.
We'll get the SwitchBot to filter them.
Okay, Glenn, I want to hear more about Alien the 64. How did the live and concert stream go? Was it just like them playing music and they're streaming it, which is fine? Or was there some aspect of like audience interaction during requests? Okay, Andre says it may be possible to receive small sound or image files from Schmoes over the Discord, be cooked up in the big melting pot. That's a good idea in terms of like if we need crowd submissions, it could be from our patrons, and Discord would be a way to collect that. I mean, there's a million ways to collect stuff like that, but Discord is a way that like we could use webhooks maybe to like get those sound samples into something like I think I see what you're saying, which is like how could it be incorporated live? Think about that. Andre's already planning on coding it, so that's great. Old-fashioned theremins use CVO, which would need to be converted somehow. Let's see. What about concert window? Alfred, I don't think I totally understand that question unless you're posing that question to somebody else in the chat.
I think maybe when it would happen, the concert window, like what? That's my guess, is what is the window that this live stream would be happening? I think that's what Alfred means. We can ask though, but I think we're thinking about Friday afternoons, but
yeah. Concert window.
Oh,
is a website for streamers, right? Yeah. In fact, Aaron was telling us about he uses a different website for just streaming live music performance, which is called Stage It. You just sell tickets to your fans, and then they can tune into your live stream. Yeah, and, some artists just like have that dialed in as a part of their sort of like live experience. They tour and then they do stage it's to their remote fans.
Bop it, twist it,
Yeah.
Stage it.
stage it.
Okay, so any more suggestions for our live stream show? Yeah, please dump them on us.
Yeah, we welcome all of them. Please drop them into the Discord chat. The other thing we would love for you to drop into the Discord chat is the suggestions for the improvised songs, because we're about to do that. We're going to run. I'm going to go grab my guitar. 2,
any suggestions for a song by the news? And 3,
oh yeah, song by the news.
for Schmowind, which we're planning the next chapter, and it's possible that by the end of the year, we may need to do a recap of all of our episodes of Schmowind, which will, of course, be entitled Schmowind Wind. We think.
Schmowind, rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schmowind.
Schmowind.
Re-Schmowind. Re-Schmowind. I'm still thinking about that.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us,
See you guys next month, by which we mean this month.
By which I mean this month.
Happy Patreon times. Happy Patreon times. We have all come together for Happy Patreon times. Happy Patreon times. Happy Patreon times. We have all come together for Happy Patreon times.